Hey traders, Brian here with a short video on the second evolution trend model. So the video's purpose is to provide a concept overview for the second evolution trend model. I want to describe the three interlocking layers that create the foundation for the methods approach and just go over that concept overview with you, because that's what I'm going to start streaming until I get another version. I'll start streaming this on March 25th, 2024. All right, what I'm not going to do in the video is I'm not going to describe in detail the individual indicators, thresholds, any other components I've used to mix the soup to make this new approach. I'll create a separate PDF at a later date that describes all of those things. So background, I'm constantly trying to improve two major areas in my trading: trade execution and how I frame the markets, how I put context around the price action. Because my belief is if I get the context right, then I can identify better trade locations and become much more consistent. And that's what it's all about. So the question is, how do I identify a segment of price action that consistently delivers the highest probability of success? So for me, if after 3 months of trading, if I can manage to take out 5 NASDAQ points a day over, say, each quarter, then that's a success for me. My goal is 10 points, over an extended time. So how do I identify price action that can get me that consistent over a long period of time? And the next step in that is to mix these three components that we're about to talk about: the macro, confluence, and micro inclusion. So that's the next evolution. The next step going forward from the model you've seen me live stream every day, the Ninzarenko 22.5 BLT model. So the difference between what we're going to be seeing going forward versus the old model is the inclusion of all three of those components. So now that the big three are included in the model, we can actually treat them as a checklist or different layers. So layer 1 is first on the checklist, and that's the macro. The macro is simply a couple of very long-term indicators that we use to keep us in check with the big picture environment. We know the NASDAQ can be in a huge uptrend and just see monstrous pullbacks, even though it's still in a bullish environment. I mean, the pullbacks can just be vicious. So how do I keep myself on track looking for long trades in these really deep, really severe pullbacks? So I use these to define the macro. And when they're both green, we're looking for long trades. When they're red, we're looking for short trades. So that's layer 1. It's real quick, easy to check out. Layer 2 is confluence. And confluence for the model consists of multiple trend indicators that I've used extensively. And then after all my observations, I've been able to take in what I consider to be the most important aspects, and I've blended them together. So when they are all in alignment, then we can move to the next and final checklist item, which is the micro. And the micro is simply your favorite setup. Okay, what gets you into and out of markets? So for me, I like John Wicks, I like the B4 jiggles, and I like the deep pullbacks. So now let's take a look at some of the charts and just talk about it in depth. All right, so layer 1, the macro. We're looking here. This is a bullish chart, bullish environment, and layer 1 is green across the whole chart. So we're just looking for long trades. But we need to let layer 2, confluence, come into play. So the first thing on the checklist that pops up is the chart turns to light green. The background does. That's a trend model taken. It's a threshold that crosses in a certain trend model. Once it crosses, it triggers the chart background to turn green. All right, once the bars turn cyan, it's what I call, it's when this indicator is in this position. That's when price can really start moving in the right direction for you. So it's can accelerate in cyan. It can accelerate to the downside when it's crimson red. All right, so check block 1 for Confluence chart background. We've got cyan bars. We've got green up triangle. We have short-term BLT trigger lines, bullish configuration. Long-term have turned blue and have crossed. We've got the short-term getting above the long-term. So all that is what is inside this triangle. This is the area where we anticipate price that can move at least 5 points for us somewhere in one of our entry techniques, whether that's momentum, a John Wick, a B4 jiggle, deep pullback, or ever how you classify those. All right, that should happen inside this, and that's a good depiction of it here. You know, you could get a momentum trade, you could get the 2-bar pullback, you could take this, doubtful that you would have gotten 5 on this. You'd probably come out with either a small loss or, like me, you know, a break even minus 3 ticks. So, but there was definitely some juice in there to get based off of that. Same thing for over here. You just go through the checklist. You see it now, light green. You know, we get the short-term trigger lines are bullish. They're crossing the long-term. Long-term is crossing, turning blue. The bars are cyan. We get the green up triangle, and bam, and we get a John Wick right after the crossing, right into this area. You've got a 1-bar B4 jiggle here where you could have gotten 5. You got about a 6-bar jiggle right there that you could have gotten at least 5. And all these signals occurred above the 216 EMA. Okay? Simple enough. So we hit the macro, the confluence, and the micro was our setups. Same thing here for bearish setups. Easy to see. We're red. It doesn't start turning red, everything, the long term, until right here. Okay, so that point right there, even though we're red, we're below the 216. The part of the move, the confluence, where everything comes together is what I'm trying to highlight. And that's this area right here. So you can just go through the checklist. We've got, again, the background changes from light green to light red. So we're in that light red area. We've got multiple red down triangles. The BLT short-term lines are definitely below the long-term. Everything's bearish. We're below the 216. The bars are crimson, saying that the trend model I use for that, it's in acceleration mode. You can expect for at least 5 points at somewhere in this area, and that's what we get. So, and you'll notice here on the trailing edge of this rectangle, you have a green up arrow. That's why the triangle stops right there. Once I see a green triangle, then it's got to recycle, reset again. I've got to see another red triangle. As long as everything else remains the same, I have to see that for it to be treated like it's treated inside this box. Here's the same thing, same logic. Red chart background, short-term trigger lines under long-term, everything bearish, red down triangle right at this point. Layer 1, double red, under the 216. It starts there and ends right here. Left leading edge starts as soon as the red down triangle confirms, and this is the recycle, the reset that I was looking for inside this environment. That kicks it off. We go down, and then the right trailing edge of the right triangle stops because we get another green up triangle. Okay, simple enough. All right, summary. So the second evolution trend model, like all the others before it, is an attempt to identify segments of price action that increase our probability of success. We're day traders. I don't want all the move. It'd be nice to get a big move every day, but I just want to consistently take a small chunk out. The inclusion of the macro picture, confluence among a multitude of trend indicators, and our favorite setups at the micro level is a logical approach of implementation to try and increase the selectivity and provide even more context around price action. Hopefully this makes sense to you. If once the PDF comes out, whatever components you like, you want to tweak your own system, good luck to you, and hey, we'll see you when we're trading live.